Hi, my name is Addie, and I'm a recent graduate from the University of Colorado at Boulder. I majored in molecular, cellular, and developmental biology. Outside of class, I volunteered, I worked at research labs, was involved in global medical brigades, the African Student Association, as well as Greek life here on campus. So a day in the life usually for me starts around 5:45 or 6 in the morning. I'm not a morning person at all. Gosh, I hate waking up in the morning, but I do study the best in the morning. I get the most done in the morning. So I'll go to the gym first thing and get about an hour of working out in, and then I usually try to start my classes between 8 and 10 a.m. And my afternoons might consist of another class or working in my research lab, and then my evenings usually consist of just various club meetings, and that's about it. I don't really do, it's really the same every day.
So you recently graduated with a degree in cellular, molecular, and developmental biology.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
What was that academic experience like? Why did you choose that major?
Well, I actually started off as an integrative physiology major, so that is a sort of similar major. They both can fall under pre-med, but integrative physiology I think is the typical pre-med major at CU. So I started off with that, and then luckily this ended up being a good decision, which at the time I had no idea that this would affect the rest of the course of my college career, but I decided not to take the evolutionary biology 1 and 2 that are offered for integrative physiology majors my freshman year, and instead decided to do molecular biology and then genetics because
Gotcha.
I just thought they sounded much more interesting to me, and I just would have preferred to take those classes, and they're transferable to the integrative physiology major but not vice versa. So I decided to do those freshman year and then take the general chemistry and other requirements for pre-med, and then I ended up loving those courses. So my sophomore year I still took anatomy and things like that. That went towards the integrative physiology major, but at the end of sophomore year I sort of decided that I really wanted to switch majors, and I loved the courses that I was taking in the molecular biology department.
Right.
I really enjoyed just the very micro level of knowledge that you get.
So at CU Boulder, it sounds like there are a couple of pre-med tracks. What were the requirements for the track that you ultimately wound up following?
The requirements for my track were very in line with the pre-med track, and I just had to add a couple of extra classes for to get all the pre-med requirements. So you start off with general chemistry, go on to organic chemistry, biochemistry, and for the biology portion, you start off with intro to molecular biology, you go on to human genetics, and then you have cellular molecular biology 1 and 2, which are sort of the basic MCDB biology classes, and then you can go on to capstones after that.
So what are capstones?
Capstones are in your mostly senior but sometimes junior year as well, the upper level classes that allow you to sort of choose more, choose what you're taking.
Right.
So you can choose from a variety of different ones. I chose ones that have to do with just diseases and things like that. But you can choose from a variety of different capstones. You can learn about research methods, developmental biology, or whatever you're interested in. A lot of people in my major also like to go into research, so that is another, I feel like it's either pre-med or like pre-health or research oriented.
I see. So outside of the classroom, what do you spend a lot of your time working on?
Outside of the classroom, one thing I like to do is I like to volunteer, and I volunteer as an English as a second language instructor. So I think that's just something that's really important to me as an English as a second language speaker myself, and a lot of people from my community, most of them are also English as their second language. So it was nice, it's for CU Boulder staff or just members of the Boulder, like greater Boulder community. Last year it was just open to like non-CU affiliated people. So I think it's just something that makes a great impact, and I really love being a part of. I spend quite a bit of time in my internship. We have a lot of professional development sort of related things, a lot of really amazing experiences that we get to have in the hospital in Denver, and that's one thing that takes up some of my time outside of class as well, besides the clubs on campus. And I also like to work out, and exercising is sort of a big part of my life as well. But yeah, that's basically what I do.
Yeah, that's a lot of stuff going on.
It's all stuff I enjoy, so I think if you enjoy it, it doesn't really feel like a lot. It kind of just flows really well.
So what is social life like at Boulder?
The social life is great. So I like to, in the afternoons, meet up with my friends and go rock climbing. That's a big thing that I like to do, indoors and outdoors. And then the first 2 out of my 3.5 years at Boulder, I was involved in Greek life, which keeps you very busy with events and volunteering. I live in a nice little nook right between campus and Pearl Street, so I'm like walking distance from like the library and my classes one way, and then the other way is Pearl Street with all of the nice restaurants and bars, and my friends and I just like to go out.
How cool. In terms of Greek life at Boulder, would you say it's like a really big part of like the social scene here, or like are there a lot of people who don't participate?
I think it's about 30% of undergrads. That's what it was when I was joining. So it's pretty big. I think you can definitely do without it. I really wanted the experience, and I think it makes this large campus, because when I came in I was like, oh my gosh, our incoming freshman class was over 5,000, so many people. My major is very small as well, and so I got to know a lot of people in my major, but then I wanted to sort of branch outside of that, and I think that Greek life was a great way to do that. And you kind of get this feeling that although the campus is really large, you do run into a lot of familiar faces, and it just makes it feel smaller and like more like a community.
That's great. It's nice to have.
Yeah.
So what surprised you the most about being at Boulder?
What surprised me the most, I think, was how much of a community it could feel like. It is such a big school, and coming from a really small high school program, I was kind of overwhelmed, and I just, after joining clubs and organizations on campus, I really felt like it was tiny by the time I was graduating. Yeah, that was a really nice, pleasant discovery about CU.
Great. So what advice would you give to high school students who are looking to come to CU Boulder?
I would say to say yes as much as you can to experiences, to opportunities. There are so many here when it comes to classes that you can take, just even further than extracurriculars, to organizations you can join. There's a club for anything. If there isn't a club for it, you can always start one. So I think just getting as involved as you possibly can, and not to like overstretch yourself, but getting involved is always, I think, a good thing here.
And what is something that you wished you had known before starting on a pre-med track, now that you are done with your pre-med studies?
I think that if I were to like go back and give freshman year me, like first day of freshman year, some advice, I would say just calm down. There is, 4 years doesn't seem like that much time, but there is a lot of time to get involved in everything you want to. I think going in being pre-med, you think I have to do research, I have to get clinical experience, shadowing hours, I have to get all A's, I have to join 37 clubs, I have to create a new cure. There are a lot of people who are go, 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 and I want to do everything. I want to do everything as well as I can, but I think just telling myself to slow down, maybe just take a breath here and there would be, yeah, the best advice I would give to myself and other pre-meds, because I think a lot of us are very similar in that respect.
Yeah, and it's good to take care of yourself and just relax.
If you like this video and want to know more about top colleges in the United States, then subscribe to Crimson Education.